for throws, and it's caught by Diggs. He's off to the races again. Stephon Diggs to the 36 of Green Bay. Chased down by Jake Ryan. What a night for this guy.
Great job by Bradford. Now they're starting to force this up, which is going to force that coverage to fall off. And so Burnett comes up. They throw it right behind his head. Nicely done.
And he has done it again. An unbelievable streak continues for Hanley Ramirez, and the Red Sox have the lead.
Hello, I'm your host, Lamar L.A. Smith, and I know I told you that we will be having a co-host this week, but that is still tentative, still working that out. But until then, I'm your host, LA, and this is Inside 380. On Inside 380 today, first, I'm going to give you the 380 Play of the Week candidates, and then I'm going to give you the show slate. First, we have Stephon Diggs from the Minnesota Vikings, and he had over 100 yards, 9 catches, and he had a TD. We had Lamar Jackson, who had a dominant performance versus FSU. You have Hanley Ramirez, Noah Brown, and Von Miller, who had 3 sacks versus the Colts this week. Now, this episode we'll be talking about college football. Then we will finish off the show talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo and his 4-year near max extension with the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, first of all, we're going to talk about college football. Now, college football, the SEC is still loaded. You got 7 teams from the top 25 in the SEC, and you have number 1 Alabama still there. Now, the biggest thing also is that Ole Miss, they've lost 2 games where they were up more than 20 points. So even though they're ranked 23 right now, they also are 1-2. So their schedule has been tough, but if they keep losing, they're out of there. Now, they lost a close game, 48-43 to Alabama, but they made some huge mistakes. They had 2 strip sacks that wound up leading to fumble recovery touchdowns, and they played bad entirely in the second half, which has been the running theme throughout their whole run this season. Now, they have a big minus of over 40 points in the second half of games this season, though they dominate first halves. And if you can't finish well, then there's no way that you're going to win games and be a dominant team later on in the season. Now, my belief is that Ole Miss will find a way to get it done. They have a good quarterback in Chad Kelly, who is the nephew of Hall of Famer Jim Kelly, Bills quarterback. So I think the team will be all right, but if they don't shape up their second half woes, then they won't do well. Simple as that. Now, you also have the Big 12. Big 12 has no top 15 teams for the first time in the conference history, since it's been around since 1996. Now, Oklahoma slid after their loss to Ohio State, and so did Texas slide after their loss to California in a close game. So now they have no top 15 teams. It just shows you how the conference isn't as powerful as it's been over its most recent years. Now, you have Louisville also. We need to talk about Louisville. Louisville punched FSU in the mouth. It's the only way I can describe it. You could call it homicide, battery, assault, anything in between, but they dominated FSU. Their D-line got to Francois, and Francois, he just didn't have anything coming. He wasn't able to get the ball out of his hands quick enough, and the guy who dominated the day was Lamar Jackson. Now, the scary thing about Lamar Jackson is that Lamar Jackson told everyone in the press conference that he think he played like a D, a letter grade of a D in that game. So let me just run these stats for you. So you're telling me this guy had 4 TDs on the ground, 1 TD through the air, over 200 yards through the air, and over 100 yards, close to 150 on the ground, and you say that was a D, this guy really, 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 really respects his craft. He said the only way he'll get an A is if he scores on every single offensive drive that his team has. That's how committed to excellence that Lamar Jackson is. Now, Michael Vick may have said that Lamar was 5 times better than he was at Virginia Tech, but that's a scary thought because Michael Vick was a dog. Let's just put it point blank. Now, Lamar Jackson is a dog, but is he quite Michael Vick just yet? I think we need to pump the brakes until we get the full sample size. That was College Football with your host, Lamar L.A. Smith. We'll be back to you.
Been blocked. One went into the backside of an offensive lineman. This low line drive fielded by Jabril Peppers. Here he goes. Jabril Peppers turning on the speed. Breaks a tackle. The cutback. Peppers headed for a touchdown.
We're back. We're wrapping up Inside 380 with Giannis Antetokounmpo, a.k.a. the Greek Freak. And he was signed for a near max extension of 4 years, $100 million, short of the 4 years, $106 million that C.J. McCollum got with the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, Giannis has game. He's 6'11", about 220, has ridiculously long arms. Dude can play all over the floor. He can play 1 through 3. You possibly could put him even at the 4, but you don't got a lot of meat on his bones, so I wouldn't advise that. But side note, the dude has game. He averaged 16.9 points per game, 7.7 rebounds per game, and 4.3 assists per game last year. His stats has improved every year. Last year, when they put him at point forward and let him play point guard more so than their other point guards in their roster, he had 5 triple-doubles in the last 28 games, and he changed the dynamic of that team. The team played a lot better. And if he keeps on with this upswing that he's currently been on, next year he could even be an all-star. Now, obviously next year that they'll probably try to shore up Jabari Parker if need be, because they have a 5-year designated player that they still have in the wings. But the Bucks have a lot of young talent, a lot of raw guys who have a lot of length, who athleticism, defense, all of that, knit, grit, and it's time to start shoring them up. Now, if you can have a guy like Giannis who looks to be the next big thing, potential multi-time all-star, then that is a great piece to base your franchise around for the next several years. And hopefully it works out, because all around wise, Giannis, I would say, he defends, he has great athleticism, good instincts, pretty good ball handler. If he works on his jump shot, he'd be lethal. Now, Inside 380, Play of the Week candidates. I'll give you the Play of the Week at the end of the show. Inside 385 concludes at the end of the show. Hopefully I have a co-host. We'll see. I plan on having one. Cross your fingers, Inside 380 viewers. I'm your host, Lamar L.A. Smith, and that was another edition of Inside 380.
Gotta go 75 yards. Here comes Miller. The ball comes out. It's scooped up by Ray, and the Broncos put it away.
Jackson, look out. Makes a cut. Why not spin in for another touchdown? Unbelievable. He has seized this national stage and made it.